People have accused me of steroid use since I was 17. It is a genetic thing. You know, my body just doesn't hold any fat.
He was a monster because he was huge, he was powerful and fast, but he was also supremely skilled.
Did you eat horse meat too?
Cow beef, horse beef. Horse is very good protein. You get big, no doubt.
And there's not a chance in hell that guy was natural. He was not natural at all. There's no way. No way.
In the world of combat sports, few stories are as turbulent and dramatic as that of Alistair Overeem. A towering figure once feared for his devastating strikes, Overeem's journey from a bullied youth to world champion and eventually to a humbled veteran reads like an epic saga. A tale of glory, controversy, reinvention, and the relentless pursuit of greatness. But before we delve into the legend, if you live for stories of sacrifice, redemption, and raw human grit, hit that like button and subscribe. Now let's step into the world of Alistair Overeem. Born on May 17, 1980 in Hounslow, England, to a Jamaican father and Dutch mother, Overeem moved to the Netherlands at age 6 after his parents' divorce.
Me, my brother, and my mother moved to Holland, and I've lived here ever since.
Growing up in Amsterdam, he was introverted, bullied, and involved in street fights. At 15, a violent bar fight left him with scars and 20 stitches.
Okay, I get a lot of questions asking about the scar. A long time ago, somebody hit me in the face with a glass. It went straight through, actually. 20 stitches. About the guy, I found him a couple times, short time later.
Prompting his older brother Valentine to intervene and bring him to a gym.
My fighting career started when I was 15. My brother took me to the gym to learn how to defend myself.
Trained by martial arts legends like Chris Dolman and Bas Rutten, Overeem channeled his aggression into disciplined techniques.
Did you have a unique relationship with Bas Rutten? Did you guys have a training relationship, a friendship?
And we trained for a little bit. My brother actually took me.
Did you start off kickboxing first over there?
Kickboxing and wrestling when I was 13.
Despite initially struggling with the sport, he found his purpose in judo, kickboxing, and MMA. At 19, he abandoned plans to join the army and pursued fighting full-time.
At the age of 17, I had my first professional kickboxing fight.
In October 1999, he made his MMA debut, winning via guillotine choke in just 1 minute, 39 seconds.
My first MMA fight was when at the age of 19. And I really created the mentality of do or die. Never give up, never surrender.
In the early 2000s, Overeem made a name for himself in Japan's Pride Fighting Championships, known for his explosive knee strikes and submission skills.
Bro, you had some of the most lethal knees in the clinch I've ever seen until obviously K1, I think, banned him.
I'm gonna be 100. I was always worried I was gonna have to fight you in Pride, and I said, now I had to watch out for those knees.
His Pride debut in 2002 was a 44-second TKO win, and he quickly faced top names like Chuck Liddell. At just 23, he suffered a knockout in their 2003 tournament, revealing his talent but need for growth.
I was 23 when I fought him. Didn't know anything. Training was not good. No strength and conditioning.
No, 2 rights, and that's 3 rights. Look down now.
Over the next few years, Overeem earned impressive wins, including submissions over Vitor Belfort and Igor Vovchanchin, and advanced to the semifinals of Pride's 2005 Grand Prix.
How are you submitting all these black belts?
I focused on the guillotine and I kind of mastered it. And I kind of found some little tricks and tweaks. And then, if you're too late, then it just sinks in.
However, he often struggled with stamina and defense, losing to fighters like Mauricio Shogun Rua, Antonio Rogerio Nogueira, and Ricardo Arona.
Fights were being less successful. I was losing fights against people I didn't have to lose to. This was due to private circumstance. My mother got sick, she got cancer. Second of all, my body was overtrained. I had 6 fights in 6 months.
By 2007, Overeem had experienced both significant victories and knockouts, proving his fearless attitude but also exposing his vulnerabilities. With Pride's dissolution, he made a pivotal decision to move up to the heavyweight division and reinvent himself, setting the stage for a remarkable transformation.
I started to change things. Started to change things drastic. I changed my trainers, changed relationship because that was draining my energy. I changed the weight class. I went from light heavyweight to heavyweight. I'm being a natural heavyweight. Cutting the weight cost a lot of energy. My previous trainer was in favor of doing that, but it wasn't working out anymore. So I chose to go to heavyweight.
Between 2007 and 2009, Alistair Overeem underwent a dramatic transformation, gaining 40 pounds of muscle and becoming a heavyweight powerhouse. Fans dubbed him Ubereem due to his massive physique, which he attributed to a diet rich in horse meat, a common dish in the Netherlands.
Everyone's like, you're taking steroids, how are you getting so big? And he had this whole theory, and he was telling people that he was this horse meat, and that's why he started getting bigger. So people like idiots started horse meat like him because they didn't understand, because they thought they're going to become like him.
Alistair, what are you making?
Beef. Beef makes you strong.
Did you eat horse meat too? I don't think I've ever had
Horse is very good
meat.
protein. Better than beef.
So if you eat like 6 or 7 times a day, you'll get big.
You get big, no doubt. Also, it's a little bit genetic. My mother is a strong woman, big. My grandpa, family very big. When you're little, like you, it's hard to get big. I eat 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, then training. Then after training, I eat immediately. Then I go home, sleep. But before I sleep, I eat. That's number 4. Then when I wake up, I eat. Then I train again. Then I eat again after training, number 6. Then I go home, I eat big, number 7. And then I eat again before I go to bed, number 8.
While the MMA world chuckled, whispers of steroid use followed, with UFC commentator Joe Rogan speculating about chemical agents behind his gains.
The pre-USADA and post-USADA days are so interesting. Even though they outlawed testosterone, there's still guys like Overeem. There's not a chance in hell that guy was natural. He was not natural at all. There's no way. No way.
I used to fight over there with Alistair, right? And he was like the bony 205er.
Yeah, he was thin.
Yeah, he was thin. Then one day I saw him like, God damn, what the fuck you doing? He said, horse meat. I'm like, okay, buddy.
Regardless of the source, Overeem became an unstoppable force. By 2010, Overeem's career skyrocketed. He won the Strikeforce Heavyweight Championship in 2007 and dominated both MMA and kickboxing, defeating top opponents like Paul Buentello and Badr Hari.
I love to fight. There's just still a lot of achievements I want to get. There's a dream title, there's the K1 title, and ultimately the UFC title. And of course, I'm making money.
That year, he became the first fighter to hold major world titles in both MMA and K1 kickboxing simultaneously, earning the K1 World Grand Prix Championship.
Overeem's fucking good.
Yeah.
He's good.
So explain to me why Grand Prix K1 champion is just so much better.
It's the biggest of the big of all, especially at the time. But at the time when he won it, it was Badr Hari, Gokhan Saki, the fucking best of the best. Some of the greatest strikers of all time. His striking is no fucking joke.
Overeem also claimed the Dream Interim Heavyweight Championship by knocking out Todd Duffy in 19 seconds.
Former K1 World Grand Prix champion, Strikeforce heavyweight champ, Dream heavyweight champ, held all 3 belts at the same time. That is one of the craziest feats in MMA history.
By the end of 2010, he was hailed as the best heavyweight in the world and called for a showdown with Fedor Emelianenko, setting the stage for the next chapter in his legendary career.
I've been challenging Fedor, trying to fight him for a year and a half. He's like the legend, the unbeatable guy.
Alistair Overeem is without a doubt the best striker that's ever entered into martial arts.
Is there any sense of urgency getting Alistair Overeem in the organization right now when he's as smoking hot as he is?
I like Alistair Overeem. There's no urgency on my part to get him into the UFC. Anybody that isn't in the UFC gets overhyped by the media all the time. First of all, Alistair's under contract with another company. When's the last time you saw him fight there? In the United States. You know what I mean? He's under contract as their heavyweight champion, and he's not fighting. I actually find it hilarious that he's ranked in the top 10 by some of the websites. I find it hilarious. What has he done in MMA to be ranked in the top 10? That's what makes the mixed martial arts media fucking stupid. That they would even rank this guy in the top 10 in the heavyweight division because he's fighting in K1. That makes absolutely no fucking sense, and I would love to hear somebody make sense of this guy being ranked in the top 10. How about the fact that he's fighting in K1 where you just kick and punch, and there's no wrestling, there's no this, there's no that? I mean, how does any credible fucking MMA guy put him in the top 10 in the heavyweight division? It's hilarious.
The years 2011 to 2012 marked a tumultuous chapter in Overeem's career.
All right, well, you got to wait till April 9th to fight, but the action begins this Saturday night in New Jersey. Fedor Emelianenko against Antonio Silva. If Fedor Emelianenko takes care of business this weekend and you do the same on April 9th, that would set up a semifinal between the champion Overeem and Fedor Emelianenko. Well, Fedor has requested, though, now if you guys fight, that you undergo a third-party administered drug test prior to the fight. What was your reaction when you heard about that request from M1 Global?
I always complied with all the rules and regulations, and there's been no problem. So,
all right. Well, the first order of business obviously is Fabricio Verdum. All right. Well, you haven't lost a fight since 2007. Your last 9 have all ended in the first round. If you could fight any non-Strikeforce heavyweight, would Cain Velasquez be the guy?
It would be 2 guys. Cain Velasquez 1, and number 2, Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar. I think a lot of people would line up, come out in droves to see that one.
After winning his Grand Prix quarterfinal against Fabricio Verdum, he was unexpectedly removed from the tournament.
My thing was that I had an injury. Yeah, basically before the Verdum fight, I broke my toe 1 month before, also a bad fracture. I wanted to fight. I wanted to be in the Strikeforce GP. Basically, Scott Coker promised me that the second round was going to be in October, and that granted me time to heal up. What happened after, I couldn't continue in the tournament tournament. So then I got fired, either or cut, released. Basically then there were some threats from the side of Strikeforce. If you're not going to compete in September 10, we're going to cut you from the tournament. Well, my first reaction was, well, I'm not going to be fit to fight September 10, so then you're going to have to go ahead and continue the tournament without me. Then the communication harshened a little bit. It was like, if you don't compete in the tournament, you're going to be cut from Strikeforce entirely. That was really like a threat, so I was, well, then go ahead and cut me.
Cut you?
No, not Scott, Dana.
Oh, he brought the organization, right?
But he cut me, and then I re-signed with the UFC. There were some contract negotiations for an extension in Strikeforce. There was a lot of terms in there which we could not live with. One was its exclusively to fight for Strikeforce. The UFC is where the top guys are. So that's my ultimate goal, to become the UFC champion.
But you mentioned the UFC, and now, of course, they are owners of Strikeforce. Do you want to get back in with them and work out something so that you can fight at the top level of the UFC and maybe get that belt?
Of course I want to go to the UFC. It's up to, does the UFC want me? I'm willing to go wherever the top guys are. My next contract, Strikeforce contract, is what they couldn't work out, and after that I was released.
This led to his release, but it coincided with the UFC absorbing Strikeforce, allowing Overeem to sign with the UFC in September 2011.
Look at the size of fucking Alistair Overeem. Look at the size of this guy. He's fucking huge.
I'm not that big.
Brock is bigger. Brock is bigger. You're right.
His highly anticipated UFC debut came in December 2011 against Brock Lesnar.
Alistair Overeem fought Brock. That was the steroid Olympics. Those two guys together inside the octagon. Jesus Christ.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ. He was so juicy. When Overeem was standing there flexing on the scale, you're like, what in the fuck is he on? Like right there. What? Saucy as fuck. When he's flexing on stage, that's when he was Ubereem. But he was so good too. He's so skilled. It wasn't just a guy on juice. It's a guy on juice who was a K1 Grand Prix champion.
Overeem dominated, securing a first-round TKO victory that left Lesnar retired from MMA.
How strong was Brock Lesnar when you were fighting him?
I didn't feel his strength.
Why is that?
Okay, so sometimes you're in a certain flow, nobody can touch you.
Wow.
That was apparently that night for me.
Overeem declared he was coming for the UFC title next. However, controversy soon followed. In 2012, Overeem failed a pre-fight drug test for a title bout against Junior Dos Santos with a testosterone to epitestosterone ratio of 14:1, double the allowed limit.
If and when Overeem was asked to stay for the testing at the press conference, you said that he sped away from the arena. Was that
well, the atrium of the MGM, yes.
That was witnessed by you or witnessed by another?
Okay. By myself and everyone else there. But I had some fans come up to me and said, where the heck did he go? So I called the chairman who had just left the building. He said, Keith, I witnessed that as well, and you let him know that if he doesn't get back here right away, it's a positive test.
There is not a goddamn drug testing agent alive that would have been... Grab him! Hold him down!
He's clearly over 9,000.
Hold on to that guy!
Could you even get a needle in his vein?
Dude, he
just
was,
like ping, just bends.
He was so jacked. He was not natural at all. There's no way. No way. Especially when he fought Brock Lesnar. But somehow or another he passed the test.
The Nevada State Athletic Commission told us this afternoon this is, quote, relatively new, this random drug testing program. As you probably know by now, UFC heavyweight contender Alistair Overeem is the first casualty.
The number of 14:1 that's been reported online of testosterone to epitestosterone is obviously there's something going on. If there is a logical explanation for it that we're not aware of, you know, he has his chance, he has his hearing, and you gotta let the man talk. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I have no information other than what you guys have.
You can just look at these two photos of Alistair Overeem, and either P90X really works, or man would put something in his body.
This sport is about honor, technique, and discipline. When did it become about who uses the better PEDs and who can pass the test better than the other guy?
Despite his team's explanation, the Nevada State Athletic Commission suspended him for 9 months, derailing his title shot. Additionally, Overeem was involved in a nightclub altercation and had a history of violent incidents, including a 2009 brawl with bouncers in the Netherlands. These events tarnished his once unstoppable reputation, turning Ubereem into a symbol of controversy both inside and outside the cage. After serving his 9-month suspension in 2012, Overeem returned to the UFC, but his physique was notably slimmer than before, fueling rumors that stricter drug testing had deflated his Ubereem version.
I think he changed a lot after the special juice. in the morning, and when at breakfast, have a special. He's a big difference now.
When UFC brought in USADA, all that changed, and people's physiques melted. They changed radically. Alistair Overeem's the greatest example. Yeah. And he was Ubereem, 260, solid as fuck, ripped, and just one of the more elite strikers on planet Earth. And then they make him take the drug tests, and he becomes a normal person with good fighting skills. I mean, he wasn't the Ubereem anymore, this destroyer.
Did it bother you that some of your peers first going on the record saying that you were created in a lab and you're not a natural athlete? People can talk all they want. That doesn't really bother me.
In his first fight back, Overeem dominated Antonio Bigfoot Silva for 2 rounds, but suffered a shocking knockout in the third, marking a humbling loss. He then faced Travis Brown in 2013, where he again showed early success but gassed out, eventually losing by knockout. These 2 brutal knockout defeats raised doubts about Overeem's ability to withstand the UFC's elite.
If you don't have confidence, your technique doesn't come off right. You hesitate, and that's why people do steroids. And cheaters everywhere, and they feel like they're invincible. And then you just, you don't think when you throw a right hand, you just, it comes off clean. You've seen it with Overeem when he's in Japan and K1, he's the most confident, a killer. He's coming forward and he just doesn't care what you have, and he's going to take it and he's going to destroy you. He's in the UFC, he just dances around and prances, and he's scared to really, engage.
Overeem's just not the same guy anymore,
No,
clearly.
he's not. He does not perform at the same level as he does. He was always super technical, highly skilled.
Despite this, Overeem persevered. In 2014, after switching training camps, he earned a decision victory over Frank Mir and knockout wins over Stefan Struve and Roy Nelson. His resurgence continued, and by 2015 he knocked out Junior Dos Santos and Andrei Arlovsky, earning a title shot against Stipe Miocic in 2016. Overeem dropped Stipe early, nearly finishing him with a guillotine, but was knocked out later in the round. And his claim of Stipe tapping out during his guillotine choke was debunked, adding to his frustration.
You had him hurt. Give us your thoughts on what happened.
There's one thing I can't say about the fight. I believe when I punched him and he went down, I got him in a guillotine choke, and I clearly felt a tap. The ref didn't see it, the ref didn't jump in.
We'll take a look at the whole thing in slow motion. Tell us when you see the tap. Here it is, you got it locked up. Did you see it there? Where do you see the tap? That looks like he's trying to find his way through your arms. Well, it didn't look like a tap to us.
From 2017 onward, Overeem became a respected veteran.
I'm kind of distancing myself from negativity. I'm very much focused on myself, very much focused on positive developments in my life.
He had strong wins, like knocking out Mark Hunt, but also suffered devastating losses, including a brutal knockout by Francis Ngannou in 2017.
Try to get a matchup with Ngannou! Goes the Reem! Francis Ngannou!
It was one mistake.
Did you feel like you underestimated his striking?
No, well, I had a game plan, but it was just one mistake. One attack too much.
And a TKO loss to Curtis Blades in 2018. Despite these setbacks, Overeem remained a top 10 heavyweight.
There's only so much your body can do if you're not supplementing your hormones after a certain age.
Except for our boy Overeem.
Well, he's figured out a way to get down to 240 pounds. And maybe he doesn't have as much power. Is technically, like as a striker, he is at a fucking very high level.
He's more technical than anyone in the UFC. He's a guy where this strict drug testing kicks in. You can see a physical change, and he's still doing well.
Well, he's better.
Earning victories over Sergey Pavlovich and Walt Harris. In his 2019 fight against Jairzinho Rozenstruik, he was moments away from victory before being knocked out in the final seconds, symbolizing the fine line between success and failure in heavyweight MMA.
Alistair won the first 3 rounds of the fight.
He fought for the last time in February 2021 against Alexander Volkov. Following his knockout loss, the UFC decided to release him.
Alistair Overeem and Cigano, Junior Dos Santos are no longer with the UFC. It kind of came out of nowhere as a fan. What happened behind the scenes there?
No, nothing happened behind the scenes. They're both great guys that have had incredible careers here. People get cut every week. Recently, you look at their age, you look at everything that's going on. I think those two are pretty self-explanatory. Alistair Overeem never said no to a fight. I have nothing but amazing things to say about both guys.
After leaving the UFC, Overeem surprised fans by returning to kickboxing in 2022, signing with Glory Kickboxing. In October, he fought his old rival Badr Hari in a highly anticipated trilogy bout, winning by decision after knocking Hari down multiple times. However, his victory was short-lived. Overeem tested positive for a banned substance after the fight, and Glory overturned the result to a no contest, also issuing him a 1-year suspension. This marked a disappointing end to his competitive career, with doping controversy once again clouding his achievements.
As Dana once said, it's a young man's sport. Even though I still love the sports, I love training, I love everything about it, I also have to be realistic, and my time is coming to an end.
In mid-2023, Overeem announced his retirement from fighting. Around the same time, photos surfaced showing him shockingly slim, leading to concerns about his health. Overeem clarified that he had undergone a significant lifestyle change, shedding weight and adopting a new vegan diet and wellness regimen. He spoke about his detox program, which included seaweed-based supplements aimed at eliminating parasites from his body. Overeem claimed the diet had improved his health, and he no longer craved meat.
Totally changed up my diet. I became vegetarian also. I have no desire to eat meat anymore.
His transformation involved losing 40 to 50 pounds, bringing his weight to around 210 to 220 pounds, a stark contrast to his former hulking physique.
Have you seen him now? Alistair now is a vegan. He lost 60 pounds of muscle. He's lost so much weight. It's crazy. And he only eats vegetables now. He's like,
no meat.
He's like, meat is bad for you. I'm like, no, it's not. Who are you talking to?
Oh, man.
Let me get you some really good scientists that fucking actually understand nutrition. I mean, I think he's probably natural now.
Overeem, now 43, expressed that he was the healthiest he had ever been and was focusing on longevity rather than fighting. He spoke about enjoying a new phase of life free from the strain of heavyweight training and hinted at promoting health and wellness rather than chasing championships.
Initially, I just kind of found out throughout the years, like, hey, the body heals itself in rest. So then you need to figure out what is rest and what is not rest. Well, rest is when you're sleeping, when you're actually not putting too much stress on the body, right? When you're eating, it's a form of stress. When you're training, it's a form of stress. But when you just disengage from those activities, your body will actually heal itself. When you're on your phone screen, there's not good rest, because that's mental. Your mental capacity is activated, so that takes away from your rest. If I knew that all during my fight career, I would be undefeated. I mean, what matters the most? Health. But you only know it when you don't have it. Right?
He admitted that fighting was no longer his passion and embraced this new chapter in his life.
They'll pay you big money, man.
Yeah, but it's not about the money. It's about goals. I have different goals now. We'll get into that. And I want this longevity. So fighting doesn't match me. I have great plans, big plans. I'm executing those plans. I need my brain for that.
Yeah.
I don't want to get hit more. I got hit for 30 years.
And so, the saga of Alistair Overeem comes to a close, not with a championship belt around his waist, but with a contented ex-fighter finding peace outside the limelight. Overeem retires with a professional MMA record of 47 wins and 19 losses, along with 14 kickboxing victories. Yet, numbers hardly tell the story. He was a champion in Strikeforce, Dream, and K1, the only man to achieve that trifecta. He challenged for UFC gold and faced everyone from Pride legends to the new breed of UFC stars across 2 decades. He has been the feared young destroyer, the seasoned tactician, and the aging underdog. He's delivered unforgettable knockouts and, unfortunately, absorbed some brutal ones as well. Through it all, Overeem's resilience stood out. Every time he was counted out, he found a way to reinvent himself. Physically, mentally, or both. Overeem's life also serves as a cautionary tale about the extremes of professional fighting. He reached unfathomable physical peaks, the Ubereem era where opponents quaked at his stare-downs, but paid a price with his body, evident in countless knockouts and dramatic weight fluctuations. He faced scrutiny and scandal from horsemeat jokes to the very real doping suspensions that are part of his narrative. Yet, as he steps away, Overeem has found something more valuable than titles: balance. From the boy who fought in bars to the man who preaches about alkaline diets, Overeem's evolution has been extraordinary. Love him or critique him, he remains a fascinating figure in combat sports. Alistair Overeem leaves behind a legacy as one of the most accomplished and complex heavyweights in fighting history. His story reminds us that for those who dare to push the limits, whether of their body or their sport, the journey itself becomes the ultimate prize. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to check out Vitor Belfort's TRT steroid scandal for another deep dive into the controversial side of MMA.
You know, Alistair was fucking kicking people in the face and knocking their teeth out for 30 fucking years.